All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. It is great to see everybody. It is great to be here on a Monday evening with you, Mr. Matt Mallory. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good. I always love your energy. You could make a daisy that's dying rise from the ashes. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to,
Yeah.
be all trying to sound like a professional.
You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. How you been, man? Where have you been? You've been traveling, right? Like you always travel.
Yeah, we got back from SHOT Show, or I got back from SHOT Show with the team. Basically taught 3 classes in a row, and then turned around a week later and headed to Pennsylvania for the Great American Outdoor Show for a day. Came back from that, turned around and went to Florida for a week, 10 days actually, and ended up teaching down there for a little bit, and just got back from there. So I'm not traveling again until April. I'm going to the Girl and a Gun conference. I'll be teaching out there at that in April in Colorado.
Nice. Very cool.
And what about you? You've been all around too.
Very cool. So I, after SHOT Show, I went to the Great American Outdoor Show with one of our guests tonight, John Petrolino. Mm-hmm. We went down for a weekend. We got to hang out with Tony Simon. We got to hang out with all the Tony Simon's people because he knows everybody. We think we know everybody. Tony knows everybody. You can't miss him, right?
It's like that 6 rings of separation or whatever that Amanda Suffolk always talks about.
The Olympic rings. Yeah, Tony's the ring that connects everybody.
Yeah, he's the big
so we did that. We actually got to go see Trump speak at the Great American Outdoor Show. So that
How
was pretty
that?
Cool. It was pretty interesting. I was very excited. We got media passes, and I got to put up my little GoPro camera next to the NBC camera, which was pretty cool.
Like this one little stick just sticking out.
Yeah, it's you can barely see it.
It was good,
and that was pretty cool. And then I came back to the hometown for a few days, and then I did a road trip. I this past week I filmed a show in Connecticut, a show in Virginia, and a show in northern New Jersey. Wow. And I went to Tony Simon's diversity shoot on Thursday night.
Very cool.
So it's been a busy week.
I've been getting around.
But let's bring in our people.
Let's bring them in.
First, let's bring in John Kolis.
Hey, Charlie.
John Kolis has.
Howdy, John.
John Kolis has a book called Pistol Practice, and he's going to talk to us about that. Our other, there it is. George is at the Great American Outdoor Show for the first Sunday and volunteer for the NRA. Nice, very cool. Our other author is not here yet.
No, bring him on. Bring him on. I got a joke.
We're not bringing him.
And where's Ghilly? Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, there is the Pew Pew Jew, Yehuda Reemer.
I was actually looking for a gas mask to just put on and just be sitting here, but I couldn't find it.
Because everybody has those laying around their house.
I got one in the other room.
Mine is probably not working anymore. I got it when I was in Israel, when America went to war in Iraq and in 2001. And everyone in Israel was issued one, and I smuggled mine back into America.
There you go.
Very cool. Very cool, man. Cool. Well, let's so Trampus wants to just made a comment. He said it's a great book. He used it at the range today, which I'm assuming is not Spot Ghilly. He's talking about John Kolis's book, Pistol Practice.
No, John, you never know with Trampus, though.
This is true. He was probably waiting for some downtime, trying to find all the gun bunnies in Yehuda's book. John Kolis, tell us about your book. You got a book called Pistol Practice.
Pistol Practice, the shooting range guidebook that teaches you how to practice. Yeah, real short. I had the idea for the book probably 10 years ago, just from going to the range, going to my multiple clubs, and pretty much observing that people came to the club, loaded magazines to capacity, and shot till they ran dry, and were permanent members of the Low Left Society. And
spray and pray, baby.
Yeah, but with the coaching and teaching I was doing and drills that I had come up with for my own development of fundamentals, I thought, I bet I could put this all together in a book. So I had that idea, but it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I had the time to finish it. So the book debuted about 18 months ago. It's in its 3rd edition, more refined, nice 6x9, fits in the range bag. And when you scan the QR code after you buy it, you get a PDF of all the targets and score sheets in the book. So it's 20 chapters of drills, exercises, and fun at the range.
Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's cool when you put something together like that. I've always thought there should be like a book of different drills that you could do, because you always hear people, they say they did this drill and they go, oh, I haven't heard of that drill, or hey, I just tried this drill and I killed it. And I'm like, wow, that's a cool drill. So to have a place to have stuff like that, that's that's pretty cool. Necessity breeds invention, or necessity breeds invention.
Well, it's been well received, and that's probably just the greatest joy for me is, meeting people that I idolized in the shooting community and hearing great compliments from people like Trampa Swanson and you, and that they find it useful. Instructors in particular feel like it gives them homework assignments for their students. And I have an affiliate program, so instructors can become a pistol practice affiliate, buy the book wholesale, and then teach the classes that I've put together that, communicate the idea of how to practice. It's not just the drills. It's really, what are the best practices to get the most out of your time at the range? What are the ways you prepare to go to the range and what you do at the range so that it's purposeful practice?
Now, I want to see Yehuda in a ghillie suit with a gas mask, an NBC gas mask, doing some of those drills. That's what I want to see. We got to get that on video.
That can definitely be arranged. And it's not something I'm opposed to do. Sorry, my 2-year-old is a little.
It's all right.
On the sad side.
Had a couple of many beef boxes.
So John, we got a question. So what's the best way for them to? Aw, little one. The best way for them to get it. What's the website address?
Well, thank you very much. www.pistolpractice.com, and to meet the pressers, you can use coupon code FREESHIP24 to get free shipping tonight. FREESHIP24 at pistolpractice.com.
Very cool. I'll tell you what I like about the book. I like that it's got all these drills, and then it's got a chart. It's got a page of, and it says you could basically score yourself to see if you improve. And then once you improve, you can shoot one-handed, and then you can shoot two-handed with your non-dominant hand, and then you can shoot with one-handed with your non-dominant hand. So it's kind of got different levels that you can use to guide how well you're improving.
I appreciate that, Charlie. For the same challenge, it can get progressively more difficult. So although it's 20 chapters, there are variations within each chapter. So overall, it's probably 4,000 to 5,000 rounds of ammo. Probably take a year to go through the whole book.
Very cool. Very cool. Now moving along. Speaking of books that take a long time to go through, we have Yehuda Reemer Spot Ghilly. It takes a lot of time to find all these people that are in here. Tell us about the Spot Ghilly, Yehuda, and how long you've had this idea. Are you gonna have to unmic it, bro?
Sorry, I didn't. Yeah, there you go. I thank you for muting me. I appreciate that. It's not often that I get muted. So, anyways, Spot Ghilly was great. I know Charlie and John. I know you and I just met, but I know Charlie and Matt know very well, or at least not know how my brain works, but are familiar with the way my brain works. And I'm literally walking in my hallway in my house one day and getting pissed off at my kids because they're a bunch of slobs, and they left a Where's Waldo on the floor, and I was like, damn it, why can't they put even one book away? And then I'm like, I should write a Where's Waldo. And ooh, what should we find? I'm like, okay, you got to spot the sniper. And Spot Ghilly was born that way. And it took about 7 or 8 months to get the book out. So from the time it popped into my head until, it was for sale was about 8 months.
And that's your ninth book, correct?
That is my 9th book. Yeah, it's my 9th book. I'm already working on my 10th book. So
I'm just
10th book is-
aspiring to have my first at some point.
Well, who does all your artwork?
I found a guy online. He's done 8 out of 9 of my books. He's fantastic, multi-talented. He can do so many different types of designs in terms of different types of artwork. He did my logo. I literally called him. I'm like, hey man, listen, I need a logo that says the Pew Pew Jew, that says the Pew Pew Jew, a Star of David, and a gun all wrapped in one. And 3 days later, my brand was born. I mean, this guy is so multi-talented. It's crazy. And I share him with a lot of people. I'm not I want to get him the business, but I tell him also, like, hey, put me before everyone else, because we've been doing this for 7 years now. And but Spot Ghilly was great. I reached out to some friends, Brandon Herrera, Ava Flanell, Maj Teray, to say if I can use their likeness in the book. So you get to search for them in the book. And it's great. It's fun. I'm getting great feedback from it. People already asked me when Volume 2 is coming out, because I did write Volume 1 on it.
That's pretty cool.
So Volume 2 is in, we're talking about early stages. Like I don't even know what I'm going to do on every page yet. That kind of early stages. But I know if I sat down and actually put my mind to it, I'd have like pretty much all of it ready to go soon.
So what you need to do, here's one for you. This is free. You got to put me at the top of your list going forward. You should do one special editions. So you'll have like Volume 1, Volume 2, but then like at some point do special editions like of all the shows around the country. You got the NRA's Great American Outdoor Show. You got the NRA Annual Meeting. You got SHOT Show.
So yeah. So I thought about that. The problem is, someone like the NRA would be like, oh yeah, you can definitely use the NRA show in our logo, but you're going to charge us the $5 million that we have to pay right now for Wayne LaPierre. So, right. So like
you could do Where's Wayne?
Where's Wayne? Exactly. Well, we know where he's going. It won't be hard to find him, but no, anyways, so, but yeah, no, like I think one of the ones I'm gonna do in the upcoming book is gonna be like a UFC fight, like a death cage octagon match, and then one of them is gonna be on the steps of the Capitol building, but it's gonna be January 7th, because I know if I do January 6th, the Secret Service will be kicking down my door as inciting riots. So I'll be like, I have a big date, January 7th. I think I'm actually going to do a real swamp, like kind of like Shrek.
Nice.
And you're going to see like Democrats and Republicans being like sucked down. I mean, look, you guys know me, right? Like I don't pull punches with anyone. I call balls and strikes. I go after Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives. It doesn't make a difference. If you're against the Constitution and acting like it, then I'll go after you. Like I don't care. And if you don't like that, well, I guess it is my problem a little bit, because I'm the one going after you, but I still don't care. But yeah, so Spot Ghilly's great. Yeah, Spot Ghilly's great. It still doesn't touch bullet points, but
bullet points is good, man.
Bullet points is still Bullet points is still getting me in trouble. So that's still, the number one book.
It's getting you in trouble because they don't open the cover, right? They just
exactly. It's like, I posted it on Twitter today, and people are like, yeah, exactly, like, oh, you're nothing but a traitor, right? You claim you're 2A, but blah blah blah.
Right.
Like, yeah, man, you're an idiot. And all I wrote is, if you know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
For
sure.
But yeah, 9 books out, and one of the, I don't know if you guys saw, but a Rothschild died today.
No.
One of the banking Rothschilds. So I'm wearing my Jewish space laser force in honor of him.
Wow.
Because the Rothschilds own space lasers and the Jewish space lasers. So I'm wearing the shirt in honor of him.
There we go. Very cool.
Very cool.
All right, we need to wrap it up with you two gentlemen. How Yehuda, how can people find you?
People can find me across the board at the Pew Pew Jew on all social media, and then thepewpewjew.com.
All right, very cool. And John Kolis, where can people find you, sir?
Pistolpractice.com.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to let you guys go. Thank you both for so much for being
Thanks
on
for
the
having
show
us.
with you. You guys, it's
safe.
always good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Our next two guests.
Our next two guests. Whoops, not that one. Sorry about that, John Boy. When the people disappear, they slide over. So we have with us
Hey.
Mike Ox and Dan Wass.
What's up,
Gentlemen,
gentlemen?
Hey,
what's
guys.
happening? Good to see you all. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Dan, you're going to have to unmute your mic, sir.
What's going on? How are you?
Ain't nothing going on but the rent, sir.
So I'll do it this way. 3 books and 1 big book.
Look at that. Yeah, but Mike's got more than one book out, right? He's got
Yeah.
like 14 books himself.
3 with my name on them, and a few others that I wrote that
Incognito.
where my name isn't on them.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Mike, tell us about your newest book, your Red Dot Mastery book.
Yeah, it came about because well, I didn't want to use red dots, and I was very happy with irons, and I had more and more people asking me about them, more and more students using them, and I was like, dang it, I gotta figure this out. But everyone's complaining about it taking really way too long. And so I want to figure out a way to make the switch from irons to a red dot in one shot. And so I reverse engineered everything and tested it. It worked for me, started testing it with other people. It worked for them, started teaching it to a few instructors. It worked for them, and ended up writing the book. And so it goes into basically all of the above the neck stuff that drives technique and makes technique either work or not work. It's what makes us learn quickly or learn slowly. And so it's not really an instead of book. It's how to make everything that you've ever done with red dots or want to do with red dots work better.
Interesting. That sounds pretty cool. I've had a friend of mine let me loan me one of his guns that has a red dot on it, and I think the hardest thing for me is making sure that I have the proper grip and the proper alignment so I can see the red dot. I don't think it's actually seeing the red dot. I think it's actually holding the gun so that the red dot appears.
Yeah, there's a few things there. There's the grip, of course. And then there's, can your brain automatically present that dot between your dominant eye and the target? And that's going to depend on you having stable eye dominance with a single eye, which we can control. It's going to have to do with something called the ego center, which is the origin of aiming for the brain. If the brain says, I want to hit a target over there, it's going to pick some angle, and that angle is going to have an origin with the ego center. And if it's the middle of the nose, our results are going to be different and harder than if it's lined up with our eye. And that's also something we can control. And then we want to get our senses all working together. Our eyes knowing which direction the target is, our inner ears knowing what we're doing, and our hand-eye coordination working. And so we go into all that in the book. And what we found is that, yes, people get it so they can shoot red dots better, but they also shoot any platform they pick up better afterwards.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, we've got someone here that's got a question, and he wants to know one eye or both eyes. And of course, we're going to tell him to buy the book, right?
I'm assuming the question is one eye or both eyes open, and definitely both eyes open. And that's a big challenge for a lot of people because of a few things that go on. Unstable eye dominance, the brain suppressing or partially suppressing the image from one eye and making things confusing when we're looking at our gun or looking at the target. Even eye alignment issues can make it challenging to shoot with both eyes open. And we talk about how to knock all of that out in the book so that people can go from never having been able to shoot with both eyes open to being able to shoot with both eyes open pretty darn easily.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, this gentleman's buying the book, so you can Venmo us our cut.
Thank you.
Very cool. We get some before we go to Dan. We have our good friend Mark Lindblom, the BSKOG, the Bay State King of Glocks, is on chapter 6 of the book, and he said chapter 4 was pretty incredible. So
Cool.
awesome.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, Dan Wass, what's been happening with you, sir?
Hey, well, a lot of stuff, guys. I'm really interested in getting Mike's book, by the way, because that mind-body connection is really interesting to me. And Mike talks about the mind-body connection. I talk a lot about the psychology behind primarily the anti-gunners. And so what I've been researching now for 10 years is how we've gotten to a place in America where we can have such an anti-gun narrative and so many people are on board with it. So what happens to the psychology of people who are otherwise rationally thinking people, but they can believe all the hype and all the anti-gun narrative? And you guys, and I've talked to you guys about this before, that the terminology, all the scary terms, ghost gun and gun violence and assault weapon and all this stuff, and people get on board. And so the stuff that I get into is the psychology behind it. How is it that otherwise rational people are able to be manipulated and convinced that guns are dangerous and that we should ban them and we should have all these rules and regulations, even after seeing data? At least we show them the data. I know I'm all over Mom's Demand and Giffords and all those groups trying to help them see the data. They don't want to see the data. So my stuff is really about what's going on with the anti-gun narrative and how do we better understand their tactics and their strategies, so we can either help them, which there's a few we can still help, or defeat them. And I think the majority of them need to be defeated.
Yeah, the difference between them and how they make it seem like they're trying to do good for the community, when you ultimately down below, I think they just want to do, ultimate power corrupts ultimately. So I did send out the link for Red Dot Mastery, except for I didn't put www, so anybody can copy reddotmastery.com for Mike's book. And then Dan's book is danwass.com. I'm just sending that out now to everybody. So you
could probably do that to goodgunbadguy.com.
There you go. See, I should have asked you.
Goodgunbadguy.com would probably be the best site.
So Dan, speaking of taking over the names and terms, did you guys see after SHOT Show, the MDA crowd came out and called the lever action rifle like this? I just tried to find what it was. They came up with some ridiculous term for the for a lever action rifle.
Well, we always say, they give them an inch and they'll take a mile. And unfortunately, on our side of the conversation, there are some people who are willing to compromise with these folks. It's a bad idea, because the minute you give them an inch, they'll take more. I thought, Charlie, it was about the so-called assault weapons that, again, the assault weapon they made. I remember Dianne Feinstein holding up the AR-15 and Bill Clinton saying, we got to get these off the streets of our communities. It's all fear. So now they're always going one step further. They won't stop until Americans are disarmed.
Yep.
So we have to keep fighting too. So the point is, we can't stop, and I don't think we do. I guess my biggest problem is I like the fight, and that's why. And I'm sure you guys do. That's why, otherwise we wouldn't be in it for this long, doing the things we do, because we understand that they're really trying to destroy the historical tradition of our country, and we're not going to let them do it.
Can't let them do it for sure.
Mm-mm.
So we had this. Switchblades were outlawed shortly after the fictitious West Side Story debuted. People are very gullible. That's David. Yes, David is so true. This is something else he said here too about Mike. Mike does eye exercises while riding in cars. He walks the talk. So if people don't know, Mike, David's one of my camera guys and does Facebook stuff for us. And he ended up staying in the house with Mike. Mike stayed at the house with us in Vegas. So we chauffeured Mike around, and Mike was doing eye exercises, walking up and down escalators and everything.
That's crazy. Well,
I've heard they work.
Our buddy Charlie Mack asked a question again. He says, is there a major difference between red dots and green dots for the way the color and the brain process things?
Yes, there is, and blue. Right now, Lucid is the only. Yeah, it's safe to say they're the only player in the blue dot market for pistols. But all three of them are processed differently by the brain. They're processed at different speeds, and different brains will treat them differently if you have an astigmatism. So for a lot of people, the blue that Lucid uses, it is the quickest color to come back after you get flashed with light. So they demoed it with me by shining a 200 lumen light in my eyes from a couple inches away, and then instantly I was able to see the dot, and which is cool. It's a definite difference over red and green. They perform differently at night. They perform differently, like I said, with astigmatism. A lot of people are better with the blue than with either the red or the green. With red and green, it's a mix. I'm worse with green. Most people are better with green if you've got an astigmatism. And
is that a colorblind thing, Mike, or what's the typical reason for that one person would be better with green? Because I've always heard that red is not as bright as a color. You're not going to see it as great outside. It's a little duller, where green is more vivid and more bright. So most people can pick that up better. So why is it different for you in that case?
I have no idea. I haven't been able to isolate the variable.
Right, fair enough. And then blue is blue not as bright of a color as green? How is it compared to green?
It's different. I don't know how to say it other than it's completely different. And there's different wavelengths of the color blue as far as blue light goes. And Lucid is using a very specific cool blue color, which is very, very calming to the eyes. Not like a harsh blue that you see in street lights that are just kind of nasty looking.
That one's for you, Dan. Ghost Gun's not owned by.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. That's a good. That's a good point.
That'll be in his next book.
Ghost Gun is an interesting thing that they created. So, Ghost Gun really is just a term to scare people who don't know any better. Yep. Sally Soccer Mom, who lives in the cul-de-sac, when she hears Ghost Gun, she doesn't even understand what it is, but she knows she's supposed to be scared of it, because what's scarier than ghosts? But the whole Ghost Gun fear campaign is based around. It started around the 3D printed guns. So they used 3D printed guns as the culprit to declare ghost guns a national tragedy. But in reality, what they're doing is, with the Ghost Gun fear campaign, is trying to get everyone on board for serialization. So once we get serialization on board, which means every firearm that exchanged hands in America must have a serial number. And they're not doing it to help the manufacturers out with their inventory. They're doing it because a serial number is a way of tracing the gun back to the home address of the owner. So now Ghost Gun really is nothing. It's a ridiculous thing that people get on board with. 4 serial numbers to push for serial numbers, and serial numbers obviously lead to registration.
Registration leads to
confiscation.
Confiscation. Yes,
it's like we've seen this play out before.
Yeah, well, and here's the real interesting thing that not everybody's talking about. So we talk about confiscation, we talk about Ghost Gun leading serialization, registration, confiscation. But how are they going to confiscate it? This is why they're pushing so hard for red flag laws. Now, they couldn't get it at a national level, so they're getting states. The federal government is actually enticing states to take up red flag laws with $750 million in their budget to get states on board with red flag laws. So because they can't do it at the national level, they want it done at the state level. New York State, California, you name the blue state, they all have them. So here's the thing. In order to
We're wrapping it up, Dan.
confiscate guns without due process, you need red flag laws. But in order to actually get them, you need to know where they're located. So registration and red flag laws will work hand in hand.
But the
All right,
government wouldn't do that to you.
No, of course not.
Is what they say.
I have one quick question. Can we blame the whole goose gun phenomenon on IKEA?
IKEA.
IKEA.
You buy
Oh,
your
because
furniture, you go
because
home,
they
you put
trained
it together.
Americans to build their own stuff, right?
That's right.
Gentlemen, Mike, how can people learn more about you, follow you, stalk you, all that fun stuff?
red.mastery.com and Facebook/dryfireox.
Awesome. And Dan?
Goodgunbadguy.com and loadedmike.com. It's my web show, loadedmike.com. Goodgunbadguy.com and loadedmike.com. And thanks, guys. It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
It was
Yeah,
quick, but
thank
it's
you.
always fun with you guys. Stay safe.
Always good to have you guys on. Thank you guys very much. We'll talk to you guys later.
I'm going to bring the next
All right.
ones in, Charlie, and I'll
let us bring the next ones in. So who do we have next? We have
dun,
Bill
dun,
Dalpe,
dun.
and I am not seeing our next guest. Do you see him on the?
I don't see him on there. We got to scroll down.
I don't think he scrolled down.
No, I thought didn't he pop on and then
He made a comment.
yeah, I saw him. He was in there.
Was he? All right. Well, he's not here. That's okay. All right. Well, he'll tune in. He'll tune in when he's here. We'll let him in.
We got Bill all to ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Dalpe, as we call him in my circle, the Dalpe.
The Dalpe.
I think Petrolino came up with that one, but how you doing, guys? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being on. Hey.
Thanks for being on. There he is, Rob Pincus, ladies and gentlemen. Rob is our other guest this evening, or for this segment. Rob, you're just coming back from a trip to Mexico, right?
Yeah, I was down there to hang out for about 6-7 days, spent some time on the range with some instructors down there. Edgar Antillon is leading the charge really now in terms of developing a training community down there. In fact, I brought back, maybe next time you'll do a Spanish speaking. We were at a book release for one of our primary hosts and leading guys really leading the training community down there. Based out of Guadalajara. He just put out his second book. So yeah, it was a good trip. Just got back yesterday.
Clint says hi, and he said, make sure you sell the audiobook.
Yeah. If we only knew someone who could record him.
Now,
I know.
Here's a fun fact. I have all the guest books right? But I don't have yours because you know where I have yours?
Is one of them.
There you go.
What, mine?
I have yours on audio. Because I was at Clint's house and Clint's like, you need to do it. You know, I know the guy that did that up. I was like, okay.
I hope he gave you a 50% discount. I hope he gave you a discount on his share.
Matt's looking for the 5-finger discount. Okay.
That's hard with audio. That's hard. See?
Yeah.
You got to do like rerun, and you got to wear the cassette tape under your shirt while the cassette recorder, while someone else is listening to the audiobook out loud, like Rerun did with the Doobie Brothers.
Is that like sitting in a movie theater with an old video camera?
Yeah,
it's sort of like that, but for older people. There's like 4 people in the audience who got that joke, and I appreciate you all.
Right?
Yeah,
I do, man. I'm like, Rerun, really? Man,
Rerun. What's happening?
Makes me wonder what's happening now.
Right. Yeah. Now, where are we? So I wrote my first book actually when What's Happening was still hot on NBC at 9:00 on Thursdays.
How much hair did you have back then?
Oh, tons. Basically as much as the waitress. Crazy.
big old fro.
Shirley Hemphill, right?
Shirley, I'm not afraid of that. Yeah. I'm afraid of that.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So Rob, you have, I think you said 10 books total.
Well, it's 9 and the PD10 manual.
Okay.
But because the PD10 manual has things in it like staging versus storage, and we actually teach people how to shoot a little bit, not just say shoot where it's safe to shoot. So I kind of half count this, but really 9 books. A big wide variety of books.
It's 10 more than I have, so
9.5. But you had Yehuda on, and Yehuda is actually responsible for one of my books because I kind of said, I actually have a copy of his safety. I have a few of them laying around here because my daughter has one in her room. I always have one handy. to show people and refer to people too that have kids in the house and want to talk to them about guns. And actually, Yehuda, he was talking about how his artist, his illustrator, has been used by a lot of people. He shares them. I've used the artist, and I did a kid's book. So, but that was totally almost like a dare from Yehuda. Like, you could do a kid's book too. So I did. If he gets to count bullet points, and if he gets to count the Where's Waldo book as a book,
that's fair.
To say he has 9,
fair.
then I promise you I have 10.
Yeah,
at least. Fair. I might count some of my articles in print magazines. I'm going to start counting his books if he gets to count bullet points.
I think
magazine of our...
For sure.
That's good. Fair
That's
enough.
what I need to do. All my SWAT magazine articles from like 99 to 2004, I'm going to get the rights and put them in a compendium and publish it, just so I can always say at least one book ahead of Yehuda officially, because half the books he claims aren't even books.
Right. How many books do you have? One more than Yehuda. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's it. Like, well, one more than Yehuda claims. One more than Yehuda has used ISBN numbers.
Well, technically, how many pages have to be in a book for it to be a book? Is it number?
Well, how many pages? How many pages have to have words on them?
Words
is probably a better question. At this with that guy.
Yeah, that's a good. That's fair. So how do people find out about all your books? RobPincus.com leads to ICE.
You really can't. Because I'm so good at not selling things. You can't really find any of the books. You can go to Amazon. I think they have Counter Ambush is available at the avidityarms.com store. Unarmed America, Lessons from Unarmed America that I did with Mark Walters. I know that's on Amazon. The kids book is on Amazon. The kids book is actually available in a duo package with Yehuda's Safety On. So you can get My Daddy Has a Gun and Safety On together from Yehuda's store. So they're out. And you can get a PD-10 manual with a PD-10. So free. And then you get the link to download a PDF copy. And I'll do an audio book if Clint will record it for me. For the blind owners of PD-10s. The blind owners of PD-10s.
Perfect.
Talk about Bill's book.
Let's talk about Bill's book. Bill doesn't
pressure.
have 10 or 9.5 or 10 books. He doesn't have audio books.
Nope. Just one.
That's right.
Yeah, just
but
one.
Tell us what you do have.
Yeah, after the bell rings, I won't tell you the genesis, only have a couple minutes, but there comes a time when parents have to have a discussion with their kids where they, probably should think about their own personal safety. So that's where this book really fits. It's designed for parents or guardians to read it and then pass it on to their child, but just not hand it off to them, to utilize the methodologies in there to apply it to their own, routines and what's going on in their life, so that it's meant to be a starting point for parents and guardians to enforce, what we know, right? The situational awareness and, to be responsible for their own safety when they're not around parents or guardians, when they're at the ball field or over a friend's house, or, so they get some ownership in their own personal safety. Yeah, so that's basically what it's all about. And I launched an instructor program last year. I think I have 35 instructors nationwide. Comes in a robust PowerPoint.
Nice.
So if you're front-facing kids, scout group, youth group, very, very low buy-in. So, yeah, that's what it's all about.
You prefer people to go to Amazon for it? Because when I Google it, it comes up on Amazon, but I also see it on the article that John Petrolino wrote on Bearing Arms.
Yeah, if you go to atbrbook.com, that'll get you there.
ATBR.
ATBR, and that's for after the bell rings?
Yep, exactly.
There it is.
Very cool.
I'll put that here in the chat so everybody has the link to that, and they go right to that to purchase that book and support my fellow NRA training counselor from back in the day.
Way back.
That book has been another one that's really easy and convenient to recommend to parents. One of the, we started the school attacker response course over a decade ago, and I've always done a lot of media, unfortunately, in the wake of these tragic killings that happen at schools from time to time. And that's one of the biggest things is, what do you say to your kids? What do you talk about? And Bill provided a real resource because it's very hard in any kind of 3-minute news segment when that's one of the last questions to get anything valuable out. But to say, hey, there's this great book, After the Bell Rings, written by somebody who knows what he's talking about. It's a great way for parents to have this conversation, or at least start the conversation with their kids. Find it on Amazon or whatever is something I've used a lot. And even inside of the gun community, where people may think they have the answers, but they don't know how to start the conversation, I think is an incredible resource.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to talk to people about situational awareness, and I know the book's not all about situational awareness, but it's hard to talk about that when people don't understand what it is. And this gives them an opportunity to say, "Hey, listen, you know what? Here's a situation that might be a little strange and a little awkward for a teenager, and this is where it's time to pay attention to these things."
For sure.
Most definitely. So, Bill, you made the reference that you only had a few minutes, but Rob's not going to take it all up. So you go ahead and you give your little spiel there.
No, I just gave it. That's it.
Oh, you paraphrased it anyway.
I used a third of my time to make fun of Yehuda, fairly.
Okay.
And I used a quarter of my time to endorse Bill's book, to be fair.
This is true. So yeah, go ahead.
That's good.
I even threw out I threw this out for Angel Banderas. He doesn't even live in this country or speak my language.
I'm just picking
efficient use of the time, Rob. Very efficient.
I love you, Rob. I love you.
Twice. 3 times, Angel.
3 times.
There you go.
Is Rob getting a cut of this book now? This is what we need to know.
I don't know what it says.
You can't read it.
No habla inglés.
No habla
español. Sorry.
No, my
Paquito,
goodness.
muy Paquito.
Oh my goodness.
You guys are a hoot. So where are you guys headed next? Rob, first, where any next trip that you're going to, or next book you got coming out, since we're talking about books, and you probably got.
The Counter Ambush book, I think, is the most important book I wrote from inside the community. So people were already into this stuff. I think this book's huge, and a lot of people have told me that it's a really important book to them over the last decade. But it is. It's not. It still shocks me that it's goes deeper into a lot of the neuroscience and the behavioral science and the kind of psychology, the way the mind and body work together in the moment of the fight. It still goes further than just about anything even close in our realm, in the gun world, into all that stuff, the neuroscience and physiology, anatomy stuff that I think is so important to defensive shooting and training. But it could definitely stand to be updated. I mean, 30 years ago, the whole field of neuroscience and the way understanding how humans behave, the difference between decision-making and responses and reaction, it was really just barely scratched the surface of. So 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I started really studying it a lot, 25 years ago, under like Tony Blauer with the Spear system, things we were doing then, and moving on from what that got me started into even deeper into the neuroscience and taking some pretty high-level college courses that definitely were not in my liberal arts curriculum when I got my college degree. All of that now is 15, 20 years old, if not older than that. So that whole area has advanced a lot. Mike Oshner, Ox, and I talk about this kind of stuff a lot and have over the years. He's really kind of heavy into the brain stuff as well. I think still the missing link is that what Counter Ambush does and what our programs do, and Bill's one of our instructors. You guys are familiar with the training programs we do. We accept the reality of that reaction and integrate it with our responses, as opposed to trying to train the reactions away almost and just focus on what we're capable of on a range or in isolation or in a dry fire environment, stuff like that. So I think that's really important work. So I really need to update that and put out a new version. Other than that, I mean, I've threatened to write the autobiography where I just tell all the stories from SHOT shows and Euro shots and classes and instructor conferences. That'll be fun at some point. So I'll get around to that when I have more free time.
People like that.
That'll be cool. So Mark Lindblom, the Bay State King of Glocks, says he has PD-10 number 181. He's put 1,200 rounds through it, and it is doing fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great to hear, Mark. I'm glad that you're having success with that. I know it went through a few stops to get to you, but I'm glad that you have the gun and you're out there on the range with it.
And this Dave Moultrup came up asking about 3D printer, a little off topic, but Dave's trying to do more 3D printing stuff. So do you have a 3D printing primer to get someone from printing tugboats?
3D printing? What?
Just
don't 3D printing going on right there.
Bamboo
so,
Labs.
What you want to do? So that's my old Ender working here. My bamboos out in North Carolina. The person you want to follow is Mr. Snow. Mr. Snow Makes is the guy who is the number one go-to resource online. But you got to go to his older stuff because he's doing such cool stuff now. Like he's like light years ahead of, and he's doing all kinds of slow motion video and building cannons and all that. But go look at what Mr. Snow was doing. Go look at what 2A3D was doing. 2A3D print your 2A is another guy. DeathCAD is the resource, and of course, Gunmakers Match 4 we're going to be right in Clint Macro's backyard. Gunmakers Match 4 is coming up in May, late April, early May. And that's a great place to come and get a bunch of tips too. And we do have the file for the 3D PD10 out there for free. So if you get into printing, JSD Supply sells the kits, all the metal parts you need. And we gave the frame file away. It's a modified frame file that works with 3D printers. It's not the injection mold file that isn't going to work well, but it's the 3D PD10. And we wanted the whole gun community to have that because of the ghost gun thing. We need to get more people into private gun making.
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely. All right. How can people find you and all of your stuff, Rob?
The internet. avidityarms.com. Go to the store and buy the last remaining copies of the first edition of the Counter Ambush book so that I've been forced to write a new one.
Perfect. And Bill, how can people find you and everything you're up to? But besides the book, you're working as a training counselor for the USCCA and all sorts of stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm a busy guy. I just stay quiet and just do my job. But atbrbook.com, that's for the book. And then the school's patriotfirearmschool.com. Yep.
Always good hanging with you guys.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being on. And let's see who we have next. Next, we have...
Whoa, he's back.
John Petrolino.
He even brought
Hello,
his
gentlemen.
to the party.
Can you? Yep, I got them hanging up. They're right
Nice.
there. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's a little bit like a Japanese movie, but it'll be all right.
That's all right. Wong Tong Fui.
The number one super guy. All right. It's crazy to me that you live in New Jersey, the most populated state, and your internet is horrible.
It is
Bandwidth
beyond
overload.
horrible. So I apologize.
It's quite all right. So John wrote a book called Decoding Firearms, and this is why we brought him in. He's written over 700 articles on bearing arms. There is Decoding Firearms. Look at that. It's a Beretta with a padlock on it, which is great.
Yeah. So
yes.
when I was coming up with the idea for the book, I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in, and I thought decoding was a good theme, and what better way to have something to decode than a master lock, combination lock from back in the day that took you like 3 weeks to learn how to use before you were sufficiently trained in it. So that was kind of the theme I was going with, that learning about firearms is something that you would decode step by step.
Very cool. Very cool. And this started out as you were making like a handout, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So I didn't just wake up one day and say that, okay, I'm going to write a book on gun stuff, right? As you alluded to, I'm a writer that's written over 700 Second Amendment related articles at the time that Decoding Firearms was being born, and I was thinking about it. I had maybe 40 articles under my belt, maybe 50, not a ton. There was enough to where I was gaining momentum. And so I was working on a class. I was writing a class. While I was writing a class, I was also editing somebody else's book. And, when I was going through their book, there was a lot of things that I said, I would do this differently. I would do that differently. And, and it's funny when you work with other personalities. I was coming on as like a technical editor and typesetter and, filling up those kinds of roles for this gentleman, and just not having any constructive, I don't want to say criticism, but just advice in general on best practices or ways to do the book. So that was going on, and I was writing this class, and I said, when I get done with this class, I want to have some sort of a handout that I could give to my students It's something that I call the coffee table university. You go home from taking a class or whatever, and you throw that thing on the coffee table, and then it sits there. And then, you pick it up and you thumb through it, or maybe your spouse looks at it, or one of your kids or a friend comes over, and it's kind of, it's there. It's something tangible for you to walk away with. And in our day and age, like, everybody is so focused on this stuff. Everybody's focused on the computers and PowerPoint presentations and things like that. And they're great, very fantastic tools. They really are. I'm not a Luddite by any stretch of the imagination, but if you have something that you could put in somebody's hands that they could go home with, and that take that knowledge home with them. So I said a handout. And by the time I got done going through the class outlines of everything that I had worked on, and said, this is all the information that I would want a student to go home with, this is okay. And then I started writing it. And next thing you know, it's a 266-page book. So it's not a handout at all. It's, it's a serious tome for sure. And there's over 115 original illustrations in there. It's all photography that I took, maybe a couple photos that I borrowed from some people that gave me the rights to them. But for the most part, all of the illustrations, when you're looking at the parts of a pistol or parts of a revolver or parts of a single action revolver, whatever's in there, you're looking at stuff that I did and I edited and put in there because I wanted it to be all original work, stuff that I did from scratch.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Here's a blast from the past. I don't know if you threw this up or not, Charlie.
I did.
Nintendo 64.
Whew.
David's saying you're looking a little Nintendo 64, John.
Is that how bad the image is? And like max headroom, like
it is choppy.
We got a lot of great references. We got what's happening now. We got max headroom.
Yes, that's true, man.
All right, well,
old school.
It's
all right.
But you can hear me, okay, right?
Yeah, it's just it looks like it does look like one of those Chinese movies.
That's all right. Okay,
I don't know.
I apologize.
Oh, that's fine. You're New Jersey, man. Don't apologize for your state. Wait.
So
Lindblom,
the BSKOG says, yes, he says he can't wait to pick up his autographed copy, and he thanks us for doing the show here. Thank you very much for being here, Mr. Lindblom, Mr. BSKOG.
Bay State King.
Bay State King Glocks.
Oh.
So I have a couple copies of the book. I full disclosure, when my closest people in my life decide they want to join the dark side and get a gun, I call John up. I say, hey, would you autograph a book and send it to my people? And one of them actually said to me, there's nothing in here about a top break revolver.
Yeah, no, and that's okay, and that's funny. When you said full disclosure, I thought you were going to say you had a pre-release copy of the book that you didn't look at until like months after it released. But that's neither here nor there.
Well,
the top break revolver.
It needs a few more pictures, John, before I spend more time looking. No,
the top break revolver is a great joke for sure.
Yeah, it is. I had I had just sent a copy to my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law called me up and asked me about ammunition. So I went to my copy of the book and I said, go to this page and read it yourself.
And that's perfect. And I like to think that the book has a lot in it, and I'm not going to sit here and say it has everything, obviously. And we joke about the break action revolvers. I did have a reader that read the book, and he's like, "Oh, this is a good book, except you didn't, you didn't cover break action, revolvers." And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, "Are you kidding me, Lieutenant? I didn't, I didn't do the break action revolvers." Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the plug there. But I tried to put as much information in there as possible, and that was kind of the shtick.
As Rob sent that message, it got me thinking maybe you should send a copy of this to every film set that has guns on it, because they could really use it. In Alec Baldwin's movie, maybe this,
it could have been a lifesaver.
Could have been literally and physically.
Literally.
Not going to touch that one.
Yeah. That's all right. That's okay. So John, what else do you have going on? You got some new stuff brewing as well, right?
I do have some new stuff brewing. So I have the book out. I love that the book is out. I'm still selling copies of the book. It's still, I'm not going to say it's flying off the shelves, but there's over there. I could almost say there's thousands of copies out there. There's a lot. Could I always use some more sales? Sure. But my most recent endeavor is I did launch a website, and it's called The Square Reviews, and that's a product and travel review site. So it's a little bit of everything, and it's for I like to say red-blooded Americans. So the first few reviews when I launched the site on February 2nd was like the world's largest McDonald's. I had a holster review in there. I had a couple of flashlights. So a gizmo called the Cigar Minder, and also interviews. I'm going to do some interviews with, product specialists and, people that are inventors or the minds behind places and things. Cool. And that's the latest venture.
No,
that's pretty cool.
I'm on your website and I'm not seeing. You don't have it updated yet on johnpetrolino.com. You don't have that on there.
No. So I didn't put it on johnpetrolino.com yet. I have to link over to there, and because yes, it's an extension of me, but the Square Reviews is the Square Reviews, and then like johnpetrolino.com is johnpetrolino.com. So I will have that crossover, but for me, they're not going to be as closely knit, even though I'm running it, right? Obviously, but
so
this is going to be apolitical, non-sectarian. Yeah.
What so how can people learn about that
website? Yep. That website is thesquarereviews.com, www.thesquarereviews.com. And you're going to want to put it in exactly like that. You're not going to find this in Google yet. The analytics aren't there yet. The SEO is not there yet. It's because it's a brand new site. And I do have Instagram, The Square Reviews. On X, it's _Review. Facebook is The Square Review, so you can find it over there too. And if you go to the website, there's a newsletter and everything. I'm actually doing a giveaway. I might as well plug it now. I'm giving away up to 5 of these 20-ounce Yukon tumblers. For those of you that know the very popular, roadside attraction, Buc-ee's. This is the same company that makes the Buc-ee's drinkware as Yukon. This is a great company, a great line of products, and I trusted them to put my logo, on their product. And I'm giving away up to 5 of these. So if you go over to Instagram, I have a pinned post on Instagram. It says, "What's in your cupboard?" It's a picture of that cup, and there's some instructions there. Like the post, tag 3 people, I think, in the comments, and then sign up for the newsletter, and then you'll be entered in to win one of 5 of these tumblers. I'm going to give away one for every 100 eligible people. So I'm just starting to plug this now, and again, I'm trying to gain momentum for both the website and the socials. So head over to the site. Please do sign up for the newsletter. I promise I won't bombard you. It's about once a week is when things are going to go out, or potentially as posts come out. So it's just going to be, as the content comes, but I'm not going to spam you up.
Oh, spam me up, baby. If I get the chance to get a free tumbler like that, that's nice. I like that. I'm looking at it right now with all those shot glasses beside it. Man,
did you go on Instagram and tag 3 friends and like the Square Reviews? And
I'm doing a show right now. I don't have time to do all that yet, but
you have to follow it, and then you have to sign up for the newsletter, and then right. So and this is just the website. It's a way for me to get the product reviews out there further, as well as some of the other things that I do. Nice. Like I said, there was the world's largest McDonald's is one of the locations I reviewed. I reviewed the Ark Encounter, which is a really neat, location. It's a life-size replica of what Noah's Ark is supposed to be like.
Wow.
That was pretty cool. And then I did a water park, one of the locations that I hit, last year. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. Hoping to cater to the. I'm not going to say, that I'm like some sort of a cliffhanger for like super active person, that I'm like high adventure by no stretch of the imagination. If you have the cliffhangers or interested in my content, that's great. But this is definitely geared towards people that like to have a semi-active lifestyle, but maybe not too throttle forward.
Right.
Wow, time flies.
Yes, it is time. So
Realize that.
we haven't mentioned this, but we are doing a giveaway at meetthepressers.com/giveaway. And you need to enter there. You could the code is author, and you need to go to that, because are we giving away the Mantis X10 tonight? Because it is the end of the month.
We will do it end of the month. Give it a few more days
Thursday?
for people to sign up. Yeah, like Thursday night. Thursday night, I'll pull it up. I'll text you and say, give me a number. You give me the number, and then we'll give it away.
Sounds like a plan, man. Sounds like a plan. What does Dave Moultrip here say? Did you pull this up?
Yeah, I pulled that up. No acorns.
No. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm gonna come up with a shirt with a big acorn.
Nice. Very cool.
Two acorns.
2 acorns. That's just what you need. Make sure they don't fall. What we need to wrap things up. John Petrolino, how can people find you and everything that you do? Because you have a ton of stuff going on, sir.
Okay, so I do. The main website is thepenpatriot.com. So you can find me over there. And of course, I'm always looking for news tips and ideas. John@thepenpatriot.com is my email address. And of course, you can reach out to me if you have a product or something like that you want reviewed. You can hook up with me that way as well. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Again, the new website is thesquarereviews.com. Please do sign up for the newsletter. Please do head over to Instagram, enter in for a tumbler. Tag some people, share the content, because I'm really trying to spread the message, and the best way to get that done is by getting more people reading. So tune in, please.
Very cool. Very cool.
Always fun hanging out with you, sir.
It's always a good time hanging out with you guys. All right. So just one last plug. Go to meetthepressers.com/giveaway. Enter author to win a Mantis X in the next couple of nights. What else do we have going on, Mr. Mallory?
Wait, we should all do that.
Right. I don't. Oh, yeah. I only have Yehuda's.
You didn't bring yours, did you, Charlie?
I didn't bring mine. No.
You didn't bring my book, Charlie. Okay.
I got 2 of them. I could have brought both down. One for me, one for Charlie.
That's right.
Well, I have 2 copies as well. One's a pre-release.
Well, we did have another live schedule for tomorrow night. I'm not sure that's going to happen yet, so I'm still waiting to hear back. I'm going to probably say no, and then I'll say we'll get some more dates together, and we'll get another live. Hopefully everybody likes the lives that we're doing and bringing people together, good people like John and everybody else that we had on today. So
yeah, this was great. This is a really good idea to get a bunch of our author friends together.
I have them every so often.
Yes, I like that we had a theme. We've had a theme. Last time was the post-SHOT Show wrap-up. This time was the authors. Yeah. And who knows what it shall be next time.
We'll figure something out.
All right, very cool. Well, listen, guys, thank you all. We appreciate you tuning in. If you have not liked and subscribed and done all of that stuff for Meet the Pressers, for the PS and Ed, for writing Shotgun with Charlie, what other business have I missed of yours, Matt?
United Merch Co. is almost ready to go live.
United Merch Co. You're going to be able to buy. Well, it can buy there. You can buy merch. Yeah, so we'll get some information out for that. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We will see you next time. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Stay safe.